believe in being ready. I believe in being ready. I believe in being ready, for the time is drawing near. Brothers, sisters, please get ready. Brothers, sisters, please get ready. Brothers, sisters, please get ready, for the time is drawing near. Oh, there'll be signs and wonders. Oh, there'll be signs and wonders. Oh, there'll be signs and wonders, for the time is drawing near. We'll turn round and just start over. We'll turn round and just start over. We'll turn round and just start over, for the time is drawing near.
I created Safe House 7 in an attempt to really create a more decolonized, kind of culturally reflective therapeutic praxis for my clients who identified as Black and or BIPOC, to address the kind of prismatic nature of what humans are. In my process of curating what this would be, I really centered what my own healing has been, right? And so much of it was really revolved around some of the principles of the spiritual tradition that I was kind of initiated many, many years ago, which is called Isheshe. Some people understand it as Ifa, right? And it is a West African spiritual tradition that is thousands and thousands of years old. And it has like its own iterations throughout the African diaspora. And its principles, of which I lay out, or at least 7 of the principles, in Safe House 7, they have over time been kind of rebranded and co-opted by the Western therapeutic praxis. And so we see many of the modalities today, but it felt really important for me to really name, at least in part, some of its indigenous source based in Africa.
We'll turn round and just start over.
So the first threshold, it's called Oriki, and Oriki is like an oral database. It's a melodic storytelling, and it's a telling of our family, it's a telling of our ancestors. This first threshold was named that because this is really an opportunity to understand the temporal nature of healing, looking at past, present, and future, and how they really kind of affect one another, right? And it also gives us an opportunity to look at what the role of ancestors are in healing work, an opportunity also to bring in the stories of our ancestors. The second threshold is Itan, and Itan translates into backstory. And so we really look at each of our stories, our narratives, right? And really looking at the land that we were kind of birthed in, from and how it impacted us. And our kind of inception points, these big kind of threshold moments in our lives, whether they were devastating or if they were big accomplishments, and really understanding our arcs within our stories. And we get to look at that individually and also collectively. So there's a creative way in which we got to explore both of those. And then we begin to kind of identify some of those experiences that have a kind of thematic source and parallel to some of the issues that we may be dealing with at present. The third threshold is it's 3 parts: Iye, Emi, and Ori. And these are Isheshe terms of components of the self. And in Isheshe, there's many, many different parts of the self, not only intrapsychically, but also interdimensionally. And so these are 3. And these 3 may even have some correspondence to Richard Schwartz's work in internal family systems, but they're really parts on some level that have to do with the kind of prescribed conditioned self, right? And then the soul self, the inner child self even, and then our truest nature, our divine self, right? So we're understanding these different parts of ourselves, how they speak to us, how they feel inside of us, what are their needs, right? And really understanding the self in this more kind of multi-layered way. When we can identify and be in relationship with these parts, then we know ourselves on a deeper level, and also really learning how to have these parts listen to each other and be in harmony with each other. That's really the fullness of what integration and wholeness is within the individual.
Brothers, sisters, please get ready.
The fourth threshold is called Olokun, and Olokun is a Orisha, like a deity that resides at the deepest, darkest spaces of the ocean. It's the mystery, it's the abyss. We say nobody knows what lives at the bottom of the sea. Olokun, in a Western kind of theoretical understanding, may be the unconscious, right? So this is where we pierce beyond the conscious layer of the self and go into deeper subterranean psychic forces of our existence. And so this is an opportunity to really do some dream work, right? And a beautiful practice within that. We do really deep communing with the natural forces, right? The natural elements of this world. And this is also an opportunity where one could do plant medicine. And in saying that, the plant medicine, it's only a piece of these larger thresholds, right? This is not everything centered around the plant medicine. It is just a tool to really be able to access deeper and deeper levels of the self. The fifth threshold of Safe House 7 is called Ibo. That translates into offering. And really this threshold has a lot to do with really surfacing the lessons and the teachings that came from working with the realm of Olokun, right? With working with what came up in the dream work, what came up in the communing with the natural forces, what came up in the medicine work, right? And really understanding what the theme was and the lesson was, and how you can integrate that in a practical way into your life, your day-to-day life. And more importantly is the Ibo, is the offering. A lot of this, we're drawing upon wisdom from sources beyond, ourselves, and that we then have to give back, right? And so this is about individuals and or groups identifying a way in which they can absolutely give back. It could be a creative or a social endeavor, but it really creates the flow of sacred reciprocity and making sure that this isn't just a extractive practice, but that there is also a reciprocity, a bringing forward in the work that keeps the flow and keeps the balance present.
Oh, there'll be signs and wonders.
The sixth threshold is called Ile Elofun, and Ile is your family. And in this particular version, Elofun is your worldly family. So this could be your blood family, it could be your chosen family. That's this incarnated life it's your family. And so really what this threshold is speaking to is the communal act of healing, right? So in most indigenous cultures, healing is a communal act as much as it is an individual act. And the community itself is an active agent of restoration as much as it is a recipient of when somebody is healed, they also receive, right? This is really an opportunity for the group to really bring acknowledgement and feedback and insight and using intentionally their energy for the restoration of one of its members. And so all of us get to have that opportunity to really receive that reflection, that love, that energy as an act of healing.
I believe in being ready, for the time is drawing near.
And the last threshold is called Iboda. And Iboda is what you say at the end of a ceremony. It really puts closure and seals it. And it's really just an opportunity to kind of collectively like reflect on the whole process together and give love and put a ritual to, you know, the closure, kind of a very intentional closure of the work together. So much of this work is really about relationship. It's relationship with oneself, it's relationship to the outer world, to the natural world, to the planet itself, to others, right? And to spiritual forces that we may or may not see, right? So this work is really acknowledging the relationship that was forged in the time.